This is episode 39. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Today we're talking about Airbnb and the legal implication that comes with putting your property on Airbnb. And I think Airbnb is a great company and a great way that individuals can make some extra money. You can either rent out your room, you can rent out your house. And I think this is very important because as the economy tends to be very volatile, individuals are being laid off. And one way you can actually make some money is through Airbnb. And you can either, as I mentioned, rent out a room or you can rent out your entire house. But it has some legal implications that comes with it. For example, it has some tax implications. As we know, I talked about in my prior videos that every tax regulation or rule is a tax law because Congress created the federal statutes, and of the federal statutes, Title 26 of the federal statute applies to tax law. And as we know, all income received from any source is taxable, whether it's legal income or illegal income. They can get you for not paying your taxes. So it's important to pay your taxes. And primarily when it comes to the tax legal implications of Airbnb, they're going to give you a 1099. If you're making money, you bring your property out, they're going to give you a 1099. And you can use that information on your Schedule E. If you're making money off Airbnb, which I definitely think is probably a really good way to make money, individuals will come into your city, rent out your room, rent out your house. You can probably spend a night at your friend's house, whatever it may be, and individuals are making money, particularly if you're in a desirable neighborhood or if your house is relatively nice. Individual may be willing to rent out a room or rent out the entire house, and it's done all the time, every single day, and you can be a part of that. And then if you're making money, they're going to give you the tax form 1099, and then you'll take that information off of it, and then you'll put it on the Schedule E. That's the schedule, because it's the most important document when it comes to taxes is the 1040 document. That's the central document probably of all the documents when it comes to filing your taxes. But there's schedules that be involved. And the Schedule E is a document that you can put your rental property on, and it talks about everything. It talks about the different deductions. You can deduct everything off of it. You can deduct the listing, and you can make many deductions when it comes to Airbnb. Just because you're renting your property and you're spending money does not mean that you can't get tax advantages from that. For example, any cleaning that you've done, the listing fees when it comes to Airbnb. So if you're leaving like food for them to enjoy, you can deduct some of that. You can deduct the repairs and maintenance. You can also deduct some of the interest on your mortgage. If you rent out the entire house, a lot of individuals have a house that's dedicated to just renting out for Airbnb. You can potentially use that, deduct that mortgage interest. If you have a loan on your property, the interest on that loan, you can deduct that and potentially put that on your Schedule E. It's very important. And also you get another added benefit because real estate as a whole is a great investment. It always has. At least in America, they reward individuals, they reward landowners. And primarily one of the ways, as I mentioned, they have you can deduct the interest payments that you pay on your mortgage. That's primarily the reason they say it's better to own a house versus renting a house. Because renting a house, you can't deduct your rental payments. But if you have a house that you own, you can deduct your interest payments. So you really are only paying for the principal amount of the loan. So after your taxes, in essence, from one perspective, from one vantage point, the government is rewarding you for buying houses because you get to deduct your interest. And also when it comes to commercial property, because you're making money off of it, you can have what they call depreciation. And depreciation is it's an accounting term. It's a very important term to understand. I get my guy Jeremiah Ramos on here and he'll explain it a whole lot better. But the idea is that if you have a piece of property, you have some land, they know the land, they know the asset, whether it be a car, whether it be whatever it be, a machine, whatever, it can be a piece of property. For example, your house, they know over time the house wears down. It gets old. And in response to that, they allow you to deduct the expense of that entire house. Now, some deduction you can deduct immediately, the same year. But some deduction like houses, you can't deduct a $100,000 house or $1 million house in the same year, but they allow you to deduct small equal amounts of it over 27 years or whatever the term may be for your particular asset you're trying to deduct. So if you have a house, you can deduct so many things from it, and that gives you a chance to have an even larger profit, or you can carry some of those losses forward into other tax years. But it's important to know that when it comes to real estate has a lot of tax law advantages, not only just from that perspective, but also just from a legal perspective. For example, dealing with Airbnb, if you own your house outright, you can put it into an LLC. And now all of a sudden you can get yourself a lot more protected from that perspective, because someone get hurt on your property, they can't necessarily sue you, they can only sue the LLC. They can only get the money out of the LLC's bank account. They can't necessarily touch your own personal bank account. That's very important. What else we can talk about? Insurance contracts. I mean, you deal with Airbnb. Airbnb, they provide the host a level of insurance, but you can also get your supplemental insurance to cover yourself if someone gets hurt on your property. So there's many things you can do. I've talked to certain people, and they prefer using Airbnb to rent properties versus just getting a 12-month rental agreement to another stranger, because they realize that, okay, I may have a lot more people coming into my property, but the idea is that I can get what it would take me to get an entire month to get from this person for renting it for an entire month. I can get that in 2 weekends. So now they have a whole entire house that's not being damaged for an entire year by this one family that they don't necessarily know about until they call them. They can check on the property, keep making sure the property is in good upkeep, and they also can get the same amount of money, if not more, in fewer days. So that's very important. I mean, there's a lot of legal implications when it comes to Airbnb, but Airbnb is a great way for you to leverage your property and take it to the next level. For example, you can have a property, renting it out on Airbnb, making money. Use that money to make a down payment on another house. Put that house on Airbnb. I mean, there's so many things you can do. You can potentially combine a portfolio of properties. Some can be renting out to tenants for a year. Some can be renting out on Airbnb, and then just sell those to an investor. And then you can use that money to buy a small hotel or start a tech center. There's many things you can do when it comes to real estate, and Airbnb is a tool. You can use it. You don't necessarily have to use it for everything, but some people just dedicate their property for Airbnb because they say it has a lot of more advantages than waiting an entire year to get money. But you can go buy them. You can have aspects of your real estate portfolio in many ways. But this has been episode 39. I really appreciate everyone for liking this video, watching this video, giving me feedback, commenting, and we're one step closer to 1,000 episodes. Thanks, guys.
See, you want the fame and I want the chain. We ain't got the same focus. I came in the game with my own